At the moment, we're just running straight back through the exact same picks, so nothing too egregious or weird coming through at the moment.
Nope, nothing too egregious or weird. They're going straight through the picks they just had. So let's see what they want to try and ban away as their final 2 bans come in for each team. We are sticking with the Sejuani, Viego, LeBlanc on the side of TT. I'm glad to see that. Glad we're not changing anything in that regards. And it looks like we should just be getting the exact same bans coming out here for TT and V5 as well. So it might have just been Puff's pick. He might not have been able to pick the thing that they wanted to pick. And that's why they had to redo the bans.
Well, yeah, there we go. Senna, Aphelios banned away. Mordekaiser's Mikhail, yeah, gone as well. So now we'll have to see. It is going to be that Lucian. It looks like at least taken for Puff. And this is what we're talking about, right? Where you're going, okay, maybe it is a Sejuani, but I'd be surprised if it isn't that bot lane if you're going to go towards a Lucian. Chances are you're going to take the Nami. And then you've got a very few melee champions that can actually like enable this Sejuani. So I think this Sejuani, a little bit of a weird one here, but could just be comfort for Xiaoshang as he wants to try and go up against Rich.
Lucian has been locked here. That's a Lissandra. So we're getting some 3 Queens of Freljord coming in right now for the side of TT versus V5 as they get the Sejuani and the Lissandra going up against each other. Of course, Dream on something that can deal very well with the LeBlanc. You've got that Ring of Frost, of course. You've got so many ways of just stopping and cementing them down in place, of course, with that Glacial Tomb. More way, or Glacial Prison, I should say. Glacial Tomb on the side of Sejuani, but for V5, where do you want to try and round out this composition? The Ornn for Rich could be a fantastic way of just kind of, again, setting up this Kalista and Wukong to kind of go for those big dives.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I mean, realistically, you know that it's going to be some sort of team fight coming through from TT with the way that they drafted. Like, Sejuani, not exactly going to be a side lane split push or anything like that. So, opting directly in towards that team fight, enabling the Kalista. And now you've got an opportunity to go, hey, look, if this is a Sejuani top, I'm going to be able to use my Bellows Breath to avoid a lot of that CC. Even just if it's, you know, not the Sejuani that actually is going topside, well, I still end up with Ornn, who just does relatively well into a bunch of different top laners. So nice job from V5 to just round out their composition, despite the fact they kind of had a few uncertainties. And for TT, now not acting in towards the Nami, going towards the Yuumi instead, which I am a little bit worried about because it does kind of leave you a little bit vulnerable at times underneath the tower as this Lucian, because you just don't have the health bars to really kind of avoid any sort of early dives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big thing as well. Like, Yuumi is great at things that want to try and poke you down. Maybe you just, you know, and you can keep yourself relatively safe. Things like the Ezreal as well. But when you're going up against the Kalista in particular, that all-in engage, you get the handshake out as well on top of the Lucian. There's very little trading patterns that you can come out with in that for early laning phase. So it's going to be a bit of a question mark over that bot side in terms of how they're going to be able to survive and hopefully thrive if you're a TT fan. But on the other side of this as well, for V5, they've got so many tools at their disposal. The Lissandra has so much good setup as well for the Wukong. Once they hit that level 6, it becomes very difficult in my mind for TT to try and just get away from them.
Yeah, and I can understand where they're coming from, right? Where, look, Renata would like to handshake you into someone else, right, to get the CC. But with the Yuumi, you don't really have that option, so maybe Puff and Southwind can avoid it. I am just a little bit worried because it kind of takes away from what the strength of this Lucian is, which is when he's paired with Nami and the Electrocute, you can get so much damage off of the passive from the Lucian, the Electrocute from the Nami, the Tycotter's Blessing on the E as well from the Nami. Like, that's what makes this Lucian so potent in the bot lane. But when you're opting in towards it with the Yuumi, you don't have that same level of the ability to bully out your lane opponent, because you don't have something that can act as, like, say with the Tycotter's Blessing, something to passively proc the passive onto Lucian, rather than you've got to use your heal on the Yuumi, which then means you're not getting full value from the heal. So it ends up a little bit funky, but it does mean Photic and PP God should have a good amount of control over this bot side. And when they are the main damage source for V5, V5 are going to be pretty happy about that.
Absolutely. We are jumped onto the Rift, though, for Game 2 of this best of 3. Curious to note there, Puff and Southwind have gone for the very aggressive setup of Exhaust Ignite alongside that Cleanse. So no Summoner Heal, but like you just mentioned there with the Yuumi, you will have just natural healing ability. As we can see, Yukal not taking the best of trades there into Dream. And will be forced to pop some pots early as they just look to try and jostle for control in this mid lane.
Yeah, and we've actually seen Lissandra starting to opt in more towards the Electrocute rather than the Aftershock in this matchup. Even prior to the durability update, just gives you like the opportunity to trade a little bit better in the lane. I try and match Yukal rather than just kind of losing gracefully. You can have a little bit of an easier time in actually taking some of these trades against the LeBlanc early.
Well, already they've got brush control, and they're putting a little bit more pressure here. And speaking of pressure, might get it in the mid lane. They're going to flash in straight away. The flash away, but the chain lands, and that's enough to try and stop Dream dead in his tracks. First blood going over to TT.
Nicely done by TT. Beishwan able to set up the play with Yukal, and I mean that's the downside of not having the aftershock, right? You are definitely not as tanky, and with no E to escape, Beishwan gets the kill.
I mean, it's a level 3 Karsa, and he knows there's no flash on Beishwan, but with only a blue buff to his name, Beishwan's gonna try and get himself away, should be able to hit that Blast Crone and keep going forward. I will say the decoy will be available in a second, but very risky to be going all the way down. But that means that the bot side of the jungle is 100% belonging to the side of Karsa.
Yeah, and there's no way for the Viego to try and ramp back up onto the top side. Beishwan burst, uses flash here to make sure they can get the follow-up CC, which does give them the nice kill. But as you say now, might end up losing out when it comes towards the experience, when it comes towards his jungle camps, and just this Wukong being able to completely split the map and continue to let Botic and PP God punish on this bottom lane. Like, look at that CS lead that's already opening up on the bot side.
It's only going to get worse as well because he's got the Wolves, the Grom still taking down the Blue, and Beishwan, he's going to try and get something off the scuttle as well, try and keep himself going. But again, I like this from Beishwan. He took 2 camps, he had his level 2, was trying to see if he can make something work, and just got a little bit overzealous trying to take away those Raptors off on the bottom side of V5's map, and that was kind of his undoing. Now he has to make something work here as he got over the wall, and Rich doesn't have great vision here, but again, very difficult for this combination to really take down an Ornn.
Yeah, the problem is though that wave is pushing in on top side. Now Puff.
Oh, Puff gonna have Ignite go down onto him, forced to use the cleanse as the handshake did come out, but that's a summoner trade up here for the side of V5 to get the cleanse and the exhaust out of the bot lane of TT, and they only exhausted their only Ignite.
Yeah, and now you can really set up to continue punishing here. The fact that you've got 2 summoner spells out for just the Ignite is so good for this bottom lane. You're still seeing again, like, Karsa still situated on this bottom side, so even though Beishwan is coming out of base, he's still only level 3 to the level 4 of Karsa. He doesn't realize his wolves are up. He's just trying to see if he can maybe make a lane gank happen here.
Oh, they're going to go for something just to try and mitigate some of that pressure. But again, like you mentioned in the pick and ban, this bot lane is going to really struggle against this Kalista-Renata combination. So powerful. I will say, no turf, even though the turf plate goes to go down, no gold goes over to the side of V5. So a little bit unfortunate in that regard. But Rich with a very nice trade up on the top side. And this is going to be so unfun, but also so fun, as both these top laners are going to get full combinations off on each other and then not kill each other. Just going to back away and like kind of, you know, oh, off you go, sir. Thank you very much.
Beishwan has no idea that his wolves are up. So they are still level 1 wolves, and he's walked past them several times thinking they're on respawn. So it means that they're going to be so under-leveled by the time he gets them. And that's what I'm saying now. Karsa's here at level 5, and they're maybe trying to look for a play, but this is a disaster for Beishwan.
Oh, Beishwan, and he's not quite getting caught out there by the spooky ghost, but now they're going to fully engage on this. They do not land the light slingers. They're just keeping Karsa in tow, and finally he reveals himself to show that he was the true man all along. They will try and take out Southwind, and that's going to be 2 kills going over to Photic. PP God even survives. Disaster for TT in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, Beishwan's so under-leveled and so far behind. It was like, look, I'm going to flip this. Rather than going top, I'm going to see if maybe we can make something happen. And
oh, PP God gets caught out. Yukal with a nice little TP roam down towards the bot side. Photic needs to be careful here. He does not get caught out by the chain. That would have been almost certainly his flash burn had he been hit by that, but nice little fancy feat means it's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of V5.
I mean, that wasn't even Yukal. That was just Puff going, right, well, I can actually get the kill. Solo kill on towards the support with the PP God just taking that step too far forward. Still, though, I mean, 2 kills now going over towards the Kalista is going to make this lane even more hell for Puff and Southwind. So Yukal definitely going to need to try and get down towards this bottom lane to help out.
Already we're starting to see V5 stabilize from that early mid gank, but let's have a look at this one here. And look how long Karsa waits. He knows that he's in a position to be able to take this as long as he can bait them in.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, in the 2v2, Photic and PP God actually win this. So there's no reason for Karsa to try and show himself in case, like, Beishwan does show up. So ends up doing a really nice job of baiting him in. And Beishwan even thought that he was going to get away with it scot-free, like, skedaddling behind the Kalista Ghost, thinking, okay, they haven't spotted me, I can make the play, but little did he know he was just getting baited in to that. Now, again, you're looking at Beishwan trying to play catch-up in his own jungle. Level 6 to level 4 for Karsa. 25 CS down, and Karsa, he's just going to steal away all the top side.
I mean, this is just so disgustingly bad for Beishuan. He's going to be so far behind. He is only a level, but level 6 to level 5 is going to feel an awful lot worse. I will say, though, because you see there Karsa focusing on that top side, he will end up losing priority on this bot lane and the Dragon 2 as well. But he is making his way down, so maybe there's a little bit of contest, but I don't think he's going to be there in time.
No, especially with Dream resetting and not having the TP available. I will say, though, if he ends up spotting it, Karsa has the upgraded smite, whereas Beishuan only just hit it off of that dragon. But Karsa did have a smite available.
There we go. The Fate's Call comes in. They can't quite land the handshake, but the cleanse has to be used there by Puff. Exhaust as well from Southwind. And his bot lane is becoming untenable right now for the side of TT. They can't really do much about it. Now Yukal, he's going to get jumped on here by Karsa, but again, he's a LeBlanc. Should be totally fine.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you now are going to have PP God hit 6 in the bot lane, and they've already got full control here as well to try and move up towards this Rift Herald. Xiaoshang as well, not actually having the best of times with the Orin from Rich in the top lane.
Oh, Rich now recognizing he's actually in a lot of trouble here. He gets CC down, tries to use the Ornhorn, but Rich again just not quite having the laning phase. And now on bot side, Photic just has to flash away to get not hit by Beishuan's ghost of the Renata Glask. And now this is what has happened to V5. They're in total control.
This is so many mistakes individually from V5. Rich using the Bellows Breath early means that he gets caught out by the stun coming through from Xiaoshang, and then PP God no flash, he gets caught as well.
Photic just kind of go for this one, the flash in. They're going to try and take down Puff, but with the healing on the Yuumi, they can't quite make it work. Dream thought he might have been able to catch him out with that TP, but not quite able to make it stick. That being said, though, V5 are starting off this dragon, but Yukal's in a position to try and contest this.
Yeah, I mean, Karsa should be fine here with Rich coming across as well, so you can see that LeBlanc starts to move back, but yeah, definitely not very clean coming through from V5, giving some gold back over in favor of TT, but they still have about 1,000 gold lead. They still get the Rift Herald. You've still got a massive jungle advantage for them, so they should be relatively okay, but yeah, you'll see here, right? Xiaoshang just clips him, and Rich uses this Bellows Breath way too early, so he realizes that he's kind of messed up, and Xiaoshang will get the CC, and from that, it's just all said and done.
This is Ronnie Tom, and this is just bot lane again. Just poor, lazy pathing coming out from Photic and PP God, and PP God has to pay for it.
Yeah, and I mean, you had no Fates called, you had no flash on PP God, so just a nice collapse there from TT to realize, look, we can get the support. They get the dragon as well, so at least they're trying to keep this in check, but my biggest worry is, like, as we start to see more presence down on this bot side from the Kalista, what can she do? The kill that went towards Xiaoshang, yes, it's nice, but realistically, I don't know if it's going to have that massive of an impact, because at the end of the day, it is just a Sijuan.
Absolutely, and you can still see the biggest difference, the biggest problem right now for TT is going to be in that jungle. Double the CS for Karsa over Beishuan. Beishuan is just struggling to stay relevant in this. Xiaoshang hasn't actually quite spotted out that he's just sitting on top of a ward. Sadly, wasn't on his own character model when he went over that one. And now is going to be very much, textbook followed as he tries to make something in the mid lane. And Dream pops up in a moat, so he kind of knows what's up.
And again, Xiaoshang walks straight past it, so they are just kind of spotting him out. Rich, though, will get a little bit of damage on the top tower. Should actually get the plate with the demolish there. Nicely done. I think the big thing now for V5 is trying to double down on the fact that you have this, like, big advantage to the bot lane, right? Dream is actually pushed in the mid. You've got Karsa in this position on the bot side. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Just look for the dive here.
I'll try to look for the dive. No flash, though, for Dream or Photic, so would be difficult should they ever get caught out or unluckily aggro. There's a good culling on the Photic, brings him down to just below half HP, so just trying to dissuade anything there. And yes, as much as Photic's been getting some early kills, it is still early kills over the Puff as well, so he's still on a relatively decent power spike relative to the Kalista. Dream being kept in tow as well by Yukal in that mid lane. Dragon spawning in a minute 16, and it was TT to take the first one. You imagine V5 will want to try and stop that stacking as early as possible.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a bit of indecision coming through from V5, though, where they're not really sure, like, how they want to try and play this one out. Even, like, Beishuan, you can see sitting down here, because he expects there to be some sort of funny business from V5 in the bot lane, but they've already backed away. You've got Dragon now in 55 seconds, so more than likely just going to try and group up down towards this bottom lane, use the fact there's only 3 plates left to try and crack open the turret, and then move over towards that Dragon as it spawns.
Gale Force picked up now for Puff means that he's going to be in such a point of power. He's still waiting on that Mortal Shield Bow to come in for Photic. We do see a reset coming in for Dream. He has got his Everfrost, keeping with the Freljord and Ice, but double Everfrost in the mid lane means it's going to be about execution now between these mid laners of who can get what abilities off, and more specifically on what key carries. 30 seconds or just a little bit under it till the dragon spawns, and how do you want to see both these teams approach this?
I mean, you got the Rift Herald, right?
Oh,
try and use a pop for Photic.
Photic, why are you there? You can't just walk up like that. The final chapter is good enough, and TT, they should have total control over the dragon now.
Yeah, I mean, now a bounty going on towards Solution. 3 kills, the Gale Force was completed, and Photic didn't respect it. And this is what I was going to say, is like, you should actually have members of V5 in bot lane to push the wave, so then you can get the tower, then rotate over towards the dragon. But instead, TT punish Photic on the overextension, and that's dragon number 2 for TT.
No Glacial Path here, so Yukal's going to put down a hell of a lot of damage. Won't be able to get too much more done, though. And again, it just feels like TT are just recognizing moments, and V5 honestly disrespecting when TT can take them on.
And unfortunately for V5, this is exactly the problem that we saw from them in playoffs, right? Like, the fact that they didn't respect what their opponents could do. Their early game looked a bit shaky. Now, again, their mid-game decision-making was always their strength, but it's not like you've got Rookie right here today to kind of help feed back and kind of take the mantle in this mid-game decision-making. So we'll have to see how they can fare now.
Well, Shelly goes down in mid lane. We'll bring it down to almost dead, so they get themselves a couple more plates. They still have the gold lead. It's about a 1,500 gold lead now for V5. Majority of that, you would imagine, is in that jungle position, but now, with Beishuan getting caught out, Heartbreaker's going to have to be used. Karsa thinking about going in on the second form of the Cyclone, and that was all for a little bit of Raptors. Now Photic getting jumped onto here. Creepy God trying to just trade back on the health bar. And this is still looking good for TT. They still have Flash, they still have Cleanse. Karsa looking to try and take down this tower! But Karsa, you can't do that! You cannot just tank up those turret shots!
Yeah, I mean, Everfrost and the Electrocute coming through there from Yukal to get the pick. It's going a bit disastrously for V5, and Rich even going to get CC'd here as well. He's starting to hurt in the top lane. This ain't looking as confident from V5 anymore.
I mean, it's starting to fall apart just a little bit. Again, V5 still have the gold lead, but it was to be expected with the lead that this Wukong was able to garner. Now with the kill going over, and it's starting to get a bit weird. Again, they just greed so hard for this turret.
Yeah, I mean, like, you do get the auto attacks down, but you can see, right, Electrocute and the double distortion damage doing so much to finish off the health bar of Karsa.
Right now, TT, they're going to be building a bit of momentum from this, and they're going to say, look, we're getting strong. We're getting kills. 2 kills onto the Blanc, 3 onto the Lucian, which we mentioned before. Their vision in this bot side is going to be picked up, and this is where you start to see the, you know, the gears of this game start to turn against V5. They can't just rest on the laurels. They have to make sure that they're coming in again, like you mentioned, with those big mid-game decision-making and executing properly on it.
Shesheng now starting to move over for the second Rift Tower. Will spot out the V5 start of it. That means...
Oh, Photic! They're going to try and catch him out. He's forced to flash away. They knew he did not have Cleanse, and that's now no longer available to the side of V5. They're still being chased down here as they can get on top of them. Yukal finds his mark. They're trying to use a hostile takeover to keep people alive. PP God doing so well with this handshake and disengage, and that's going to be a nice little kind of trade back there for V5. They keep themselves alive, and with everyone piling in on bot side, it means they get themselves Rift Herald number 2.
It will mean that Puff gets a lot of time alone with this tower, though will just about manage to take it down for himself. So Puff looking pretty damn big on this bottom side, whereas you're still kind of waiting for that person to really step up on V5. Rich once more, CC down by Xiaoshang, and may actually have a bit more company up here as Dream is on the way with Karsa.
Yeah, no TP available for Yukal. They will have the cannon minion coming in. There's going to be the Rift Herald as well to try and keep it going. They're going to land the ultimate, but he gets frozen up himself. Xiaoshang just flashes away. There's going to be the Glacial Path coming back in on top of this. It's a very tanky Sejuani. He will eventually fall down. And that's going to be the tower and the kill going over. But Beishuan, you've no flash because you lost it last time. He has to try and Heartbreaker over the wall, but he's just in no man's land. You can't really go for that. And Rich picks up that kill. TT, you just needed to try and just dot your I's and cross your T's. You didn't need to try and defend it so adamantly.
Yeah, they end up giving over a ton there to try and defend that top lane turret, but now that's top gone, mid gone, our bot lane is looking kind of low as well. And the Rift Herald, actually... Oh, the Rift Herald, sorry, using that top lane
Was
play
top,
as well.
yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, my brain just farted for a second. But yeah, Rift Herald using the top lane play as well means that, like, you are going to have a little bit of time here for Puff to push in mid, potentially rotate to collect that bot wave as well. But Dragon in 50 seconds, that's going to be the third one for TT. Puff, honestly, when he resets, I think should just about have enough for Collector with the way things have been going. But yeah, definitely still a huge mistake here from TT to try and create that many, or to dedicate that many resources to defending this top lane turret.
You can see Xiaoshang, he almost gets away, but then Beishuang just kind of forgets that he's not really in a position to fight this. You can see that he's got blood in his eyes. He sees Rich, he sees the resets, but not quite positioned to be able to make it work. I will say an awful lot of flashes were used on the side of V5. You don't have it on Rich, Karsa, or on Dream at the moment. Cyclone should be just up in a second. As Karsa gets jumped in here by Yukal, and the Dragon will be spawning in 5 seconds.
Yeah, Ray's just waiting for his ult to come back up. Has just ticked over. So, I mean, TT trying to see if they can get the flank, but you got a lot of tanky members here.
Got a lot of tanky members. Karsa going to use his decoy to keep himself away from the ethereal chains, and with the waves pushing in for V5, they're very happy for this, you know, kind of tug of war to keep going in their favor. We're going to see the culling coming out. It's going to pepper down these health bars just a little bit, and now they can try and re-engage on top of this. Puff trying to keep himself alive, will not get hit by the Ornhorn as Carson now a little bit too far forward. The Heartbreaker hits absolutely nothing. They land the CC though onto Lysandra, and Dream tries to keep himself alive. It's actually going in favor of the side of TT. The hostile takeover doesn't really do what they needed to. Dream goes golden to keep himself alive for just a little bit longer, but look at Puff. He's completely untouched at the moment. No one's putting any pressure on him, and when they finally do, it's too little too late. That was huge for TT, and they will get themselves on the soul point.
That's absolutely insane for TT, being able to pick up the team fight win, and they played it so spectacularly. Now 4-0-3 for Puff, 3-0-3 for the LeBlanc. TT are in control of this game.
That was a massive momentum shift here, and we can see it here. They think they have it. They think they can go for this engage for V5, but they just can't quite sync it up.
And that's the thing, right? If you can't actually close the gap to set up for Photic, he's in so much trouble. And you can see great disengage coming through from the Yuumi, means that they can't actually follow properly with Photic there. Xiaoshang and Yukal trying to draw attention to the backside as well, means that now the engage tools are down for V5, and TT have just been able to poke and prod and keep themselves out of harm's way. And eventually, after V5 overcommit the resources, that's when TT pays.
And again, this comes down to the skirmish we saw on top side. Yes, they gained themselves 2 kills, but around the objective, you saw the impact of not having your flashes, not having that extra little bit of mobility really did put a dampener on what V5 could and couldn't do. And honestly, massive props to Puff. They threw everything at him, and he still kept himself safe.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, as we said, like, Southwind doing a great job. Beishuan as well, kind of playing in towards the kind of the keep away tool there as well. But that's the thing, right? Like, when you've got this composition that wants to try and all follow up on one engage, Yuumi can do a lot of work with that ultimate of keeping people at bay, but also just keeping people topped up, and Puff able to escape out the backside because of the healing that was offered by Southwind.
Well, TT now still behind in gold, but on Mountain Soul Point is pretty damn big for them, and this Collector Gale Force solution is getting very, very scary. You can see where Xiaoshang almost having the oh, I've completely brain farted on the tank tier item there for a second, but the Fimbulwinter, thank you. I was thinking Everwinter, and I was like, that's not quite right.
Such an easy name. Come on,
Yeah.
how did you ever forget Fimbulwinter?
I said this to Lyric the other day as well. I'm noticing a trend of LPL color casters bullying me, and I'm just saying that I don't know how I feel about it right now. Everyone seems to be jumping on the bully train, so you know what? Stop it, Dagda. Stop.
That wasn't me bullied. I was making a joke about Fimbulwinter being a hard name.
It is a very hard name.
I'm in Gaslit. What the hell?
I will come out on top of this one. But speaking of coming out on top, TT is still behind in gold with 2,500. As they look to try and make something work. Rich might be in a little bit of trouble here as they fully engage on him. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. They have to use so much to keep him alive. And speaking of keeping him alive, they can't keep this LeBlanc going because they went way too far forward. And Karsa finds the engage. They're going on to Puff, who needs to try and fully disengage, but he cannot just do it. And now Southwind, he's a cat in a bag, in a river, and he's going to be drowning. And that's going to be 3 kills just from a weird overextension from TT.
And V5 pounce instantly. You can see the speed up from the Shirelias like rabid dogs. V5 are jumping onto TT, and now they're onto the Baron. Beishuan has had a bit of a hard game, but if you can make the steal, that could be the one to bring it back. But Rich making sure he has no luck in, and V5 bring it back out of nowhere.
I mean, that was just your all-inning onto Rich, the tankiest member on the side of V5. If you look at the replay here, they give so much to try and take him down.
Yeah, I mean, Rich is just not going to be an easy one to go down at all. Like, you can see he's getting a lot of damage. Good Bellows breath to stop himself from being CC'd, but the cavalry is here, and you've used everything on the tankiest member of V5, so it's V5 with this great flash over from Karsta can clear the fight.
Yeah, and the hostile takeover as well was just so well positioned to try and stop Puff from getting away. He didn't have the cleanse up just yet. He didn't have flash available to him, and that was just two big moments there for the side of V5 to extend their goal lead, get them back into a winning position. I will say in a minute's time, you will still start to look to try and get the fight here for TT, but it just becomes an awful lot harder now because you just don't really have that confidence like you did coming before that fight.
Even just position on the map as well, right? Like, V5 now able to establish vision control on their top side, making sure that they're able to spot out, you know, where is this LeBlanc? How can we try and make sure that Xiaoshang isn't coming in on the flank? Or maybe even try and catch out Xiaoshang as they all teeter down towards the spot lane to catch the wave to look for another tier 2.
I mean, how do you defend this as a Vishwani? You don't, and that's another tier 2 going over to the side of the first tier 2, I should say, going over to the side of V5, and with the pressure they have in the mid lane as well, like, I don't think Puff can really stand here and just kind of tank up these minions either, and that's going to be 2 turrets for one tier 1 in the top side. It's going to be Dragon as well going over to V5. This gold lead is going to start to balloon out of control, 7,000. And this is just becoming harder and harder for TT. It looks so good for them, but they just got a little bit overexcited, got a little overzealous, and it really came back to bite them.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? When V5 actually do end up with Baron buff, they're one of the quickest teams at closing out the game. They're so incredibly good at being able to move around the map, play off of wave states, and quickly close out a game. So that's now them finding at least the first dragon for themselves. But when you look at like the state of where the map is, trying to have opportunities for TT to now push out waves, not be like turtled inside your own base is going to be really hard, especially when you look at the health that's on that top tier 2 as well. Suddenly you have no more presence on the map.
And 3 items for the Kalista now. Photic very well set up. We'll see a 3rd item coming out here for Puff as he does get his reset out, but he's running out of targets to really kind of put that damage down onto. Again, he wants to be trying to get onto the Kalista, maybe the Lissandra, but with honestly, Dream getting quietly very, very far ahead. He's got 3.5 items, already got that Void Staff picked up alongside the Zhonya's and the Everfrost. He's very difficult to try and take out. And honestly, even then, Puff goes back. He doesn't even have enough for his rapid fire, so he's not going to be able to finish that one off.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking a little bit dire here for TT when it'd been going all so well. You still at least have like a ton of damage coming through from Yukal, Puff as well. Even though he doesn't have the rapid fire cannon, will still do a decent amount of damage if he can get that culling onto the prime targets. But it just gets so hard when you've got this death ball of V5 moving around.
Well, they jump onto Dream trying to CC him down, but he is going to have his ultimate and of course his Zhonya's to keep him there. The hostile takeover is perfect to try and catch everyone out. You do have the cleanse though for Puff, and that keeps him relatively safe. But you can see already TT invest everything onto a carry, and they just haven't got the damage to kill him.
Yeah, you have Ornn though waiting in the wings here, and TT don't know where Rich is, so you have to be careful as Yukal will pop over and spot him now.
I'll spot him now. The TP going to be coming in as well. That's Dream coming back with a full plate of health as they try and catch him out. Puff flashes into the Ornn Horn, but he created enough distance to not get caught. That's going to be the 3rd and final tier 2 turret going down, and V5 feel in total control. It feels like TT, they had an opportunity, and they kind of just left it go too long.
And again, like, look at the vision control that's been left behind by V5, right? This is something they do pretty consistently of just littering the top side with wards. They know that Baron is going to be up in 2 minutes time, so they'll just move in again, trying to refresh those wards as they come off of the reset. And this is where, as TT, you don't get to play for the flanks with Yukal, play for the flanks with Xiaoshang, and Puff suddenly finds things a hell of a lot more difficult.
Even Beishuan saying, look, everyone was just top lane. Maybe I can get a steal away. Bit risky, but he does end up getting it. The rapid fire cannon finally finished up here for Puff, but might be too little too late. We are going to see 2.5 minutes till the next dragon, 1.5 minutes until the next Baron spawns. And honestly, V5, they have the run of the map. It's very difficult for TT to try and just create any sort of vision control for themselves. They do have a nice TP flank ward there around this dragon, should it go unnoticed by the side of V5. But for TT, I mean, you're kind of hoping and praying that either a mistake or something similar around that dragon where you get that soul to try and get yourself back into this.
And that's the thing, if you end up foregoing the dragon, Mountain Dragons going the way of V5 is really obnoxious. Like, I know it was nerf coming into this patch, but still, like, the fact that you're picking up so many of these defensive stats, and you're kind of looking going, well, I mean, Orin's going to be nearly unkillable, essentially, for Puff. I mean, he pretty much already is, especially when he doesn't have any sort of Last Whisper. And then you're looking at just having the survivability for Dream and Photic against Yukal as well.
Well, Yukal thought about maybe making something work there, but sadly walked out of the brush, and his plans were foiled by a glacial path from Dream. And now 30 seconds till Baron, minute and a half till Dragon. And again, like I said, TT, they gotta try something. And where do you think, if a miracle's gonna happen, where do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, it'd have to be Soul, right? Like, that's the only way I can really see this. Maybe you end up having V5 overcommit either to the Dragon and bot side, and maybe TT can sneak a Baron, but that seems pretty unlikely. I think your best bet is to hope for a steal with Beishwan, and maybe then you can do something, but even then, I just don't see how you have the damage to get through the front line of V5, particularly as Rich starts to get tankier. You've got a PP God who can follow up really well on those Ornotes as well.
Oh, Xiaoshang is on a ward. Dragon spawning in a minute. He will throw out the ultimate and will catch out PP God, who gets fake called, so he's going to be just fine. They have the Orn Horn to try and disengage from everybody. PP God gets thrown back into the fray, forced to flash away, has to go into his own ultimate, or excuse me, his own bailout, but eventually gets taken down. Now Photic in a lot of trouble. He's the target they need, and they take him out. These health bars are low, but can the damage actually be relevant here for V5? They didn't have Dream. Dream tries to get in with his ultimate and try and make something work for them right now, and they are turning this one around. You talked about the tanky stats here for the side of V5. They can't take down this Orn. He's too big. He's too beefy. And there's nothing you can do, TT. So close yet so far.
They just don't have a tank killer on this squad. As we said, I mean, Last Whisper only just picked up now for Puff. He can't get through all the armor that's been stacked by Rich, and now, despite killing Photic, despite Dream not being there, V5 still come out on top, and you see it here, right? It's a really good engage. Dream is in the top side, no TP. It's a good call from TT to try and make this play happen, but you can see here, right? They don't get on towards the key carries. PP God gets tossed a little bit too far forward into his death. And yes, that gives a moment of opportunity here for TT to come through onto Photic, but again, like, Rich, untouched. Karsa is running amok as well with this Divine Sunder, and the tanky stats are just too much to deal with on TT.
You've invested so much to kill off Photic, which again is the correct decision. That was probably the best opportunity TT was going to have, but Rich is just frontlining constantly, and that was before he popped the Gargoyle Stoneplate. So even when he felt like he might have been taken down, it just wasn't going to be enough, and now you're coming back into this. You're gonna need another fight like that, but hopefully when you have got your Lord Dominic's regards for your Illusion, because otherwise you're just not going to be able to do anything else.
I mean, look at the damage from that last fight. Orn and the
Lissandra
topping the chart. Yeah. That's the only way. But as you said, right, Dragon now, number 2 going across, the tanky stats only becoming more obnoxious. Xiaoshang actually trying to see if he can wrap around, but I'm not sure if he will be spotted.
Hasn't been spotted just yet. He's keeping himself out of vision for the moment. Baron is live, and you can see that the call right now from TT is just to try and keep that mid-wave at bay. Both teams kind of on the opposite sides of the map right now. This Orn will eventually see that there's a Sejuani thanks to his minions, and they will cut off both sides of the minion wave. So mid lane going to be pretty much neutral ground for the moment for both these teams. You do want to go for this Baron. You do have Rens and different spears to stack up and secure this, but you don't want to risk it too much.
Yeah, Beishwan hiding over the wings. They don't really have the best of vision control to spot out where Xiaoshang is, where Yukal is. And here we go. The Rend isn't going to be on, or can Beishwan do it?
They have got themselves the hostile takeover as well. Here we go. The Orn going to get stolen. Beishwan gets in and he gets the steal. They're going to see if they can take this fight afterwards as well. Yukal trying to keep himself alive. He will get the Yuumi on his backpack, and there's going to be the final chapter to try and make something work. Xiaoshang needs to get himself out of here as the Fate's Call does miss. He will have to give up his life, but Baron secured for TT. Beishwan keeps him alive.
I don't know if it will be alive, though, because you can see TP down to the bottom lane. They want to try and crack open the space. You only have 3 members of TT alive, and they can't play frontline because they don't have a frontline.
They don't have a frontline. They've got plenty of damage carries. They've got 1 cannon minion and a Dream in mid lane. They're going to be able to crack open the mid lane inhibitor and also the bot lane as well. So that's going to be 2 inhibitors. You've still got about 25 seconds till Xiaoshang is back, 10 until Beishuan. It doesn't look like V5 are going to try and end the game just yet. As I say that, they do end up committing the ultimate here. And now Rich, how tanky are you, my dude? He gets the double knockup, though, onto the key carry, which is Puff, who's forced to flash away and get himself his cleanse as well. Actually, never mind, he still has his flash. He uses Gale Force to keep himself alive. And that's going to be UCal now hunting for Karsa. They don't quite get the damage down onto the real version of the Monkey King, but they're still chasing. TP going to be coming in as well. Dagda, this fight is still going. TT have to look for something right here, right now. But look at Photic. He's putting in the damage. He's going to look for a big Ren. There's going to be the Ornhorn coming out to try and dissuade any kind of flank engage. Puff trying to keep himself alive and will get healed up by the Yuumi. Everyone from B5 is just constantly backing away. The health bars are low. The flashes are being used. This is going to come down to the smallest of margins. Can PP God and Photic survive? The answer is no. PP God will be falling down at this point, and the rest of the team will eventually get themselves to safety. But the only problem is for TT, they can't actually gain anything from this.
Well, the wave is coming in behind them, so they might get the bot tier 2. UCal has had to reset and does have TP if they want to try and join in, but I mean, you're pushing against super minions. You got 30 seconds until V5's bot lane is back up. I don't think you're going to get much more than a bot tier 2. You'll even see in the replay here, right? Like, Rend just not used by Photic. Looked like miscommunication here because it ends up so low, like going all the way down. Oh, sorry. Rend was used, but Karsa doesn't smite. But it means that Beishuan actually in a great position there to steal that one away. The problem is, though, like, Xiaoshang had already kind of been baited into the fight here. If you get away with 4 members there, maybe you can hold on to your base a little bit better. But now, the base for TT is in shatters. They didn't even get the bot tier 2. They got a red buff and a couple of those kills. No vision really set down either for this Dragon in 40 seconds, where now you got to look and go Dream with Flash, Photic with Flash, whereas you don't have a huge amount on TT.
Oh. They kind of committed, kind of didn't commit there. There was a little bit of miscommunication from Southwind. I will say the last chapter, or the final chapter, is a very low cooldown at this point in the game, so they just have to try and wait for it to come back up. Ornn is going to get caught out a little bit, but this is a wet noodle fight between the Sejuani and the Ornn. You got double super minion waves coming in. B5 are happy to kind of just wait for this fight, let them go in on their terms, but TT, they want to try and take this Mountain Soul right here, right now.
They need to try and do something. Dream off on the flank, try to see if he can get out to the back line.
I don't think they can go for it. It's too risky. Dream, he's looking to try and see if he can get on the backside, but they know exactly where he is. There it is. There's going to be the Glacial Call coming in, but they're not quite able to catch him out. He's going to go straight into a stasis, and Xiaoshang has to flash away. They're trying to jump on a Dream, but there's the redemption now to keep him alive. Beishuan is dead, and UCal is isolated. They have even got a beautiful hostile takeover to say, if you go back here, you're going to die regardless. TT tried their very best. V5 will end up getting themselves a 2-0.
Puff and Southwind left standing with Xiaoshang. With 5 members of V5 pushing in, the wave is already there. That's going to be game.
Yeah, Puff, you have all the summoners in the world. You got Southwind putting in so much damage. They are going to try and trade back Photic, but even now you can see how difficult it is. He even cleanses it back. Double kill right at the end there, but Xiaoshang just trying to be a nuisance. It shouldn't mean too much in the grand scheme of things. Should be a triple kill coming out here for Photic. And that's going to be the game, the series, and the end of the day as another 2-0 comes out for V5.
I mean, another 2-0, or well, the first 2-0 for V5, but I mean, not exactly the cleanest of games in the early stages. V5 going to be happy that they come away with that win, but definitely going to be looking to see what they can try and improve on in those early stages, because it looked a little messy at times.
Well, V5, they'll take the results, but it definitely, like you said, was not the cleanest. TT definitely coming out and giving us a couple of surprises, looking a lot